In a world filled with noise, where everyone is quick to defend, explain, and justify themselves, chosen ones must embrace the wisdom of silence. Silence is not merely the absence of words. It is a language of power, discernment, and spiritual authority. Jesus demonstrated this wisdom in Matthew 7 verse 6 when he commanded, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." Jesus was not speaking of literal pigs or dogs. He was describing people whose actions and attitudes are so tainted that engaging with them is like feeding pearls to swine. Some individuals in your life are under the influence of darkness, and no matter how much you explain yourself, they will misunderstand, twist your words, and attack you. Here's the truth. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not every person deserves your explanation. As C.S. Lewis wisely stated, don't waste words on people who deserve your silence. In this video, I will reveal why silence is the most powerful shield against those battling demons within them. When you engage with someone influenced by darkness, you are not merely talking to one person. You are addressing every spirit operating in them. Today, you will learn how silence preserves your strength, safeguards your spiritual authority, and empowers you to rise above the noise. Watch closely, because this lesson will transform how you navigate a world full of hidden battles. Let's dive in. Are you aware we live in a physical world surrounded by people who can hurt us, misunderstand us, twist our words, or oppose us? Naturally, our first instinct is to see them as the problem. But the Apostle Paul reminds us that there is more happening behind the scenes than what our eyes can see. The battle is not against the person standing in front of you. It's against the spiritual forces working through them. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Ephesians 6 verse 12. If we fail to recognize this truth, we will waste our energy fighting people while the real enemy operates unchecked. You know how it goes. Someone speaks to you in a way that cuts deep, or they distort your words into something you never intended. You try to explain yourself, to clear the air, to justify your actions, but somehow the more you say, the worse it gets. That's because sometimes it's not the person resisting you, it's the spirit behind them. Jesus encountered this reality with Mary Magdalene. Luke 8 verse 2 tells us that Mary Magdalene had 7 demons within her. Think about that. 7 disembodied spirits, each with its own agenda, operating within her. Before deliverance, anyone speaking to Mary wasn't just speaking to her. They were addressing 8 personalities at once. Mary and the 7 demons. The same is true today. Some people in your life are not acting alone. Their attitudes, actions, and words may be influenced, twisted, or controlled by dark forces. When you try to reason with them, it feels like you're hitting a brick wall because you're not just speaking to them. Many Christians make one of 2 mistakes. Either they ignore the reality of spiritual warfare altogether, or they become obsessed with it to the point of fear. The truth is, demons are real, but they are also defeated. Our role is not to fear them, but to discern their work and stand in the authority Christ has given us. When you realize that the real battle is spiritual, you stop taking things personally. You stop being so hurt by people's words because you recognize that it's not just them. You stop wasting time defending yourself and start using that time to fight in prayer. In Mark 1 verse 25, When Jesus encountered a demon-possessed man, the demon tried to speak to him, saying, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us?" How did Jesus respond? Did he argue with the demon? Did he explain his mission? Did he try to reason with it? No. Jesus rebuked the demon and said, "Be quiet. Come out of him." Jesus silenced the demon. He didn't give it time to talk, argue, or manipulate the situation. Why? Because demons gather information to use against us. They aren't omniscient like God. They don't know everything. But they listen. They ask questions. They want you to talk, explain yourself, and defend yourself so they can use your words to attack you later. Here's a practical truth. The enemy doesn't need to know everything. Stop explaining yourself to people who are spiritually compromised. Stop justifying your actions to those who will twist your words. Like Jesus, you can choose to stay silent. When you stay silent, you preserve your peace and authority. You refuse to let the enemy gain an advantage. Write in the comments, "God will preserve me." Some of the emotional and spiritual exhaustion you feel right now is because you've been fighting the wrong battles. You've been defending yourself to people who don't deserve your explanation. You've been engaging in arguments that God never called you to fight. If the devil can't stop you from fighting, he will distract you into fighting the wrong battle. Instead of battling principalities and powers, you're battling people. And when you fight the wrong battle, you step out of the protection and provision of God. In the Garden of Eden, God gave Adam and Eve a clear command: "Do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." But what did the serpent do? He engaged Eve in a conversation. And the moment Eve began explaining herself to the serpent, she opened herself up to deception. The same principle applies today. When you waste your words explaining yourself to the enemy, whether it's a demonic spirit or someone under its influence, you risk being pulled into a battle you were never meant to fight. Matthew 7 verse 6 is a warning. "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." What are your pearls? Your pearls are the sacred things God has entrusted to you. Your wisdom, your anointing, your peace, your dreams, and your calling. These gifts are holy and should not be carelessly thrown to those who do not understand or appreciate them. If you share God's revelation with the wrong people, they will mock it, twist it, or use it against you. Jesus modeled this principle. When he stood before Pilate, he remained silent. Matthew 27 verse 14. Pilate was confused, asking, "Don't you hear the charges they are bringing against you?" Yet Jesus gave no defense. Why? Because Pilate was not spiritually prepared to understand Jesus' mission. Jesus didn't waste his words justifying himself to someone who wouldn't receive the truth. Not every conversation is worth having. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't value your words, you protect your peace, your energy, and your anointing. Jesus invested deeply in his disciples because they were open to learning. He spoke in parables to the crowds, but he reserved deeper revelations for those who were willing to listen. Ask yourself, is this person ready to receive what I'm about to share? If not, preserve your pearls and move on. Trust that God will reveal the truth to them in his time. In quietness and trust is your strength. Isaiah 30 verse 15. God bless you, and see you next time.